It's all fun and games till someone gets shot.
I have a lot of things that I need to talk about in this video, but I also have a live stream that I need to start in 14 minutes. So I'm going to get through this kind of rapidly. The first thing that I want to talk about in this news roundup is something that I discovered on my own. This is why you should follow me on Twitter. On Twitter, I tweeted out, after Jin does his rage art, the stage flips, and in the background, a hand statue similar to the one in Jun Kazama's screenshot can be seen. I'll put the pictures up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I also tagged High Buff Gigas and Tekken Gamer because I wanted to see what they had to say. And High Buff Gigas was questioning, is this unknown's hand? I went back and I looked up the video, and in that video it's called Minucci's Claw or something like that, and basically that means Dragon Claw. Tekken Gamer says, I wonder if the hand is a symbol or homage to something or someone. Also in the comment section, a lot of people thought that this is maybe Kazuya's hand symbolizing some kind of like control over the world, because it's literally a hand with something in the center of it. I looked very close. You can see a cage with a little ball. I don't know. It's too hard to judge right now. Something else that I did want to note before we move on, a person DM'd me, but they did not want to be known in the video, so I won't say their name. But they sent me a picture of this Tekken 6 screen stage, and they noted that there's also a hand with a glowing object in it. So this is 3 instances where we see a hand and something floating above. Let me know what you guys think this is down below. Let's move on. The first thing that I want to talk about, this isn't really news, but it's more so very, very wholesome. There's a post kind of going viral throughout the community, Twitter and on Reddit. You see a lot of people posting it, a lot of people talking about it, and I just want to read it because I do think it's something special as well. Gerlanda says, 2 full-time jobs, a family, no sponsors, 2 hours per night of training online if I don't fall asleep earlier. Still making it to top 8 of Tekken World Tour Finals, passing the most stacked pools of all time. First European to ever get a top 8 in World Finals. Today we write history. There was one response to this that I thought was really cool too. Apology Man says, this type of story will always be way more impressive to me over the 4-year-old Zoomer who doesn't pay taxes with a ton of free time becomes a champion. This is just a wholesome thing, and I just had to share it with you guys. Moving on. Everyone was sort of confused about the closed alpha, you got to go to Evo, you got to enter the tournament. It's confusion. Harada responds to someone who is sort of, asking a question. So the alpha is not an online code you redeem in your console. It's going to be only at the venue. Harada says, what you're talking about is a so-called beta test. This times equals closed alpha test play that will be held inside the venue of the final region competition. In the alpha test, we need to test an environment with a certain degree of assurance of playability and player profile. I kind of touched on this already, but basically, very simply, a alpha test, whether it's closed, open, or whatever, a alpha test means the game is still in developing. Like the game really can go left, it could go right, it could change wildly in an alpha test. But when you do a beta test, that means the game is pretty much finite and not much can change unless there's huge problems. That's the only time you ever see something change from a beta test. Now the fact that they're doing a alpha test means that Tekken 8 truly is coming out in 2024. The next topic, this is a follow-up to the Takakana situation. I was surprised to see that she had 14,000 people watching, almost 15,000. It seems like more and more when someone gets canceled, it's starting to mean less and less and less. When someone gets canceled, they just take a little break and then they come back and they're kind of like bigger than ever. Another tweet from Harada says, I always read requests for Tekken 8, whether it come true or not. However, please do not send it in Japanese through a translation site/tool. They are hard to read encrypted text for me, please. Please send in English or your native language, thanks. Another thing, this is kind of crazy. Arslan Ash tweeted out, at home resting. I have good news to share. Korea versus Pakistan team battle is finally happening. We will share more details soon. So everybody knows about the US versus EU that happened at Combo Breaker. Now we're going to get a Korea versus Pakistan. My guess is either they're going to do this at Evo Japan or they're going to set up a different event. If they set up a different event, I don't know how it's going to happen, because Nee already said it's difficult for Koreans to travel to Pakistan, and we all know how difficult it was from Arslan to go from Pakistan to Evo Japan back all those years ago. Once Arslan Ash or someone shares more information like the players, where, time, all that stuff, I will do a follow-up, so just look ahead for that. I think Evo Japan, but we'll have to wait and see. I already talked about this, but I will just mention it. You guys can pause and read this. I won't go into full detail again, but Akira, they have confirmed that they're partnering with Tekken. They will continue to update the game, not balance it. Bandai Namco is still doing balancing, but they will be patching netcode. They will be patching lag, desync, all this stuff we've been complaining about. Akira is on it. Now, when they will have an update, who knows? I looked into this a little bit more, and they also did work on Tetris 99. Now, I know a lot of you may not know what that is or maybe played it, but I played Tetris 99 and that felt like the greatest, game ever. The online experience was incredible. It did not lag once at all. Playing that game, you don't even know what lag is. It just works. So if they're going to be putting that kind of stuff in the Tekken 7 and Tekken 8, thank you. I'm excited. The next topic that I want to talk about, a lot of people are already wondering when we'll get more information about Tekken 8. Evo Japan is very likely, of course, E3, Summer Games Fest, all that stuff, but we don't know if a PlayStation Showcase will also happen. PlayStation Showcases where Tekken 8 got announced back in September, so if they do another one, maybe Tekken 8 will probably be there. The final thing that I want to talk about is sort of the reaction to the community. Tekken 8 is very decisive. A lot of people like the sound of aggression, and a lot of people are wondering about the defense. And I do have to admit, them not even talking about defense or punishing or just stuff like that, it is kind of confusing. But also too, one thing that I want to say is they did show us movement. In Nina Williams' trailer, they did show a sidestep. But then also, I don't think a lot of people caught this, but when they were showing the Paul Phoenix and martial law gameplay, there was a split second where Paul Phoenix backdashed away from Law. Law didn't attack and he whiffed punish. I'll try to show the clip so you guys can see exactly what I mean. Now they are kind of hinting to us that there is some kind of movement. I think the backdash and punishing was pretty cool in my opinion. But you do have a lot of memes, you do have a lot of complaining, and I still fall on the side of wait until we see, but I do think Harada and the developers have to do a better job of explaining defense, because a fight is two things.
There are options in fighting called Jing. It's a choice of how you direct your energy.
I know! There's positive Jing when you're attacking and negative Jing when you're retreating.
And neutral Jing, when you do nothing.
There are 3 Jings?
Well, technically there are 85, but let's just focus on the third.